Hey, what's up? Today we're going to talk about kvCORE and getting your emails delivered and why everyone else is doing it wrong and showing you the wrong things. Even the gurus online are showing you the wrong things that's going to screw up your email deliverability. You're going to be marked as spam. That's why your stuff's not getting through on kvCORE. What's up? This is Mike Kramer with eXp Realty, kramersells.com. I help new agents launch their real estate business and existing agents grow their passive income so they don't have to deal with tenants, toilets, or termites. So what's up, guys? It's been a minute. I did a welcome back video you can find on the channel here, but I want to focus this video on kvCORE and everything I've learned about it in the last few months. I'm an IT geek transitioning into real estate, so I know a whole bunch of tech stuff and I can show you, and I'll show you why the gurus are wrong. I'll show you why everyone else on YouTube is showing you the wrong things in kvCORE for email deliverability. I'm not trying to knock anyone, it's just I have never seen them prove it to you that your emails are going to be better doing it their way. I can show you, and you can even test it yourself with tools out there that everyone else uses in IT, like mail-tester.com and stuff like that. So let's get into the screen share. I'm going to show you what's up with kvCORE and my screenshots and where you can go. So let's go to, you know what, let's first let's go to the screen share. All right. So what we're going to do is go into kvCORE. You're in your dashboard, right? You log into kvCORE, you're in your dashboard. You go up here to the upper right to your name and my profile. All right. Now in your profile, if you look, let's just hit edit because it's easier to show you. It shows you more fields here. You don't want to change this email because that's literally how you log in. It might screw up stuff on the back end. I would talk to KV support about doing that, but I've never heard anyone say you should change that. I don't think you can. But we're going to focus on this setting right here. So one thing you should definitely do is put in your name here. Some people put their name dash brokerage, whatever you feel comfortable with. That's literally how it'll show up in other people's inboxes when you email it to them. This checkbox here is just if you put in your custom domain email here, like for me, Mike at kramersells.com, you could click this box and all the notifications of kvCORE that are going to go to you, that are meant for you, would then send to that from email instead of to this email. It doesn't really matter at most brokerages because this is usually a forwarding email that's going to go to whatever your custom one is anyway. But I'm less concerned. We're not talking about this checkbox today, really. I don't care what you do with it. Just wanted you to know what it is. So the from email, this is the big to do, right? So this from email, all the gurus on there will tell you that you should definitely change that to a custom email that you own, like Mike at kramersells.com, because you'll get better deliverability because this is just a forwarding email from your brokerage. Now it's true that is a forwarding email. You could set it up in Google so it could send as that email address, but it's not really, there's no real inbox to it. It just, when that thing gets an email, it forwards on to someone else. Nobody cares. It doesn't matter. No email delivering system, I don't think, even checks that. They just see, is that a valid user at that domain? Yes, send an email. Don't care what happens to it then. It'll check for encryption. If it's, depending on those settings, that's a whole nother discussion. This email, it doesn't matter that's forwarding. Like everyone says, oh yeah, it'll get better deliverability if you're sending from another email. It doesn't know. You're sending from it, right? The forwarding only happens when it's receiving email. And they're talking about it'll improve your email deliverability when you send to it. It doesn't care. What all email systems do, they check 4 things. One is they look for, is it an authentic email address and is that mail server authorized to send on the behalf of that domain? Like, well, in that case, exprealty.com, but could be whatever. So they do that with these 3 different records. I'm not going to get too techie on you. There's SPF record, DKIM record, DMARC record. Okay, it's a little techie, but I'm not going to go into super detail about each one. I'm just going to tell you it checks those 3 things. The 4th thing is it checks spam, blacklist, and any kind of spam list to see if your email address and or the IP address of the mail server is on a spam list saying that, hey, that's a known spam sender. Those are the 4 things that everything checks. They don't all check all 4 things, but most of them do these days. You know what gets you to pass 3 of those 4? is if you leave your regular email here. You could do this yourself. Check out these screenshots. If you go to mail-tester.com, I have a spreadsheet. Here's the results. I'll just put up on the screen here. So look at these results and look at these screenshots, right? But let's pull up the sending as this email address. From kvCORE, I'm going to use this email address, send from this email to the mailtester.com, right? And you see the results here. So what happens, I'll tell you, it's authenticated 100%. Everything checks out there. It's on some spam blacklist. That's it. I mean, that's bad. That's not a good thing, right? But it's authenticated. It looks fine. Now, I put in Mike at kramersells.com here. So all my emails go out as now my from email instead. Don't have a vanity domain at this point. Just changing that. And now let's send email. Here's the results. So as you can see now, it's saying it's not authenticated. It fails the DKIM, DMARC, whatever it's called. All right, that's really bad. The spam lists that it says it's on, it's not good, but not every system checks those spam lists, right? There's so many different spam lists to check that each provider may check one or none or many different ones, not necessarily the ones on this tester. But the three things they always check, as far as I know, is the SPF, DKIM, and DMARC, and this is gonna cause it to fail. You could see here, you could test it yourself. Every guru that tells you otherwise is just wrong, and I'm showing you the proof. So if they tell you otherwise, ask them to show you the proof. Show me that putting an email here is better, like they all say. Show me, don't just say it. I'm showing you it's definitely worse. I think the best option here, if you're not going to buy a vanity domain and you want your emails to get through from kvCORE, the best thing you could do is just leave this alone and have it send out as your EXP or whatever email address. Hands down, you see the results on the screen, you're gonna have better deliverability, period. Second best thing, if you wanna still send from kvCORE, depends how you look at it. This could be a considered better option, but as far as just email is concerned, it's the same. And it costs $11 a month as opposed to this, which is free. So to me, that makes it worse for most people. But it's to buy the vanity domain. Whatever it is, buy your vanity domain. That's what I'm currently doing because I'm testing it for you guys. I didn't really know if it would be better or not. Turns out it ends up being the same as far as email is concerned, meaning after many days of back and forth and having them update every text record, DMARC, authentication, everything I could think of, and me telling them how to do it, I got it to work the same. It's gonna send from, I've tested this to Mike at kramersells.com. That's my vanity domain for EXP as well, and you can check that yourself. I use it as the from email, and now it's the same, meaning it's still on those spam lists, but it's also authenticated 100% now. And again, they will only help you put those DNS records to do that. You can only get to work, so to speak, and get authenticated if you pay for the vanity domain. Otherwise, kvCORE will not help you with those DNS entries that you need for this to work. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me know in the comments if it did not. And then there's a third option that's not from kvCORE, but let's say you want to do a weekly newsletter, which I highly recommend, to all your contacts that said yes, they want to hear from you. You can keep in touch because you do want to get their permission. The only other worst thing you do for deliverability and be on spam list is if you start sending people emails that they didn't prove, they didn't say you could send, now they're going to report you as spam, and that's very bad. That's probably the worst thing for you. So anyone you're sending a newsletter to, don't just hit everyone in your box. You want to make sure you got their permission, and you want to give them an unsubscribe button, which is kind of difficult in kvCORE. It's not in there by default. When I asked them about it, they said you'd have to go into the advanced editor in your email and add some sort of link and an unsubscribe header. That's kind of cumbersome. So if you want to do an email newsletter, you're going to be better off sending it from something else like GetResponse. That's what I use. That's what I'd recommend. That is at least $19 a month, and then it goes up from there. I think they have a free version. It's just more limited. Then there's System with an E at the end, so systeme.io. They have a free platform and email delivery system. However, there's a big caveat there. If you send from them, you can't use the domain if you're gonna also do the vanity domain with kvCORE. You can with GetResponse, but not with System, and here's why. The way they get their stuff to authenticate so that it has permission to send as that domain as your email address. System does it differently than GetResponse, and I can't speak to all of them, but System requires what they call an alias or CNAME record in your DNS. You can't do that with kvCORE Vanity domain. You can if it's a different domain than your kvCORE Vanity domain, and you can if you don't have a kvCORE Vanity domain. Whew. I'm wearing myself out just thinking about this. But let me know if you have any questions. Now, GetResponse just does where you can add different records, right, that don't conflict with kvCORE. So because I'm using a Vanity domain and I want to use that same domain to send newsletters from GetResponse will let me, they give you a unique DNS text record for DKIM, whatever, nerd stuff. But if you're a nerd, maybe you know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, just trust me when I say there's no conflict using GetResponse. So I can have GetResponse send my email newsletters and I get a 10 out of 10 on Mail Tester, mail-tester.com. It's free for 3 tests per day. Beyond that, you have to pay a few bucks to get like 25 more tests. And if you want to store the history, but just take screenshots and do 3 a day. I'm telling you guys, look at my Excel sheet. I've paid for that and I've tested this extensively. I overthink everything. I have tested this every which way to Sunday, and I'm an IT nerd, so I understand how this stuff works, and I'm all about email deliverability. If you want your emails to get through with a higher percentage chance of getting through, I can't see kvCORE working that well. I'll do search alerts on it, but the MLS, you can get more detailed, and that works 100% too. MLS, by the way, gets 10 out of 10. Look at my spreadsheet. Hold up again. The reason though is MLS sends on behalf of. So it'll say like sending on behalf of Mike Kramer or whatever. And other people will tell you that that'll make you score less. I don't know one system that's going to make that score less. Mail-Tester shows it as 10 out of 10. Everyone else, they're now used to that, where you have these other systems send on behalf of, and you don't get dinged for that anymore. I think they used to. But now that they have the SPF records, all these other ways to authenticate, nobody minds that when it sends on behalf of. If you can prove otherwise with a third-party mail tester, or show me somehow that that's not the case, I'd be happy to see it. But you can see it yourself at mail-tester.com, send from your MLS to that, and you'll see that it gets a 10 out of 10. Just like System on its own, just like GetResponse. I'm sure Constant Contact and these other ones are the same. They stay off of the spam lists, and they have the SPF, the DKIM, the DMARC records, everything you need for that high score email deliverability so that your clients actually get it. And that's what counts, right? So I love kvCORE. I want to use it for everything, but I can't. So if anyone knows somebody at kvCORE, or Glenn Sanford, if you're watching this, and you have a lot of influence, I don't think you own kvCORE, but you have a lot of influence with them, I'm sure, and tell them they just need to do 2 things to make their email 100 times better and more deliverable and on par with GetResponse and Constant Contact and all those guys. 2 things to stay off the spam list. That's the main thing, is you're on the spam list. The 2 things are, 1, cycle your mail server IP addresses. Everyone else does it. Those IP addresses get flagged as spammy, and so you need to just cycle them and change them so that the new ones aren't on spam lists. That'll help everybody. Have VIPs, talk to your IT guys, hire a consultant. So all you need to do is have those cycle dynamically IP addresses. Another thing you have to do as well, not just one or the other, but both, run reports with either third parties or maybe you have a way internally to see which accounts are getting flagged the most, which email addresses are getting flagged the most as spam senders. Because the reason these are getting on spam lists in the first place is there are people that are probably abusing the email servers. Now, maybe they don't realize they're doing it because they're just sending to everyone on their email list. That's a big no-no. So maybe that's an educational thing or whatever, but you could go after the accounts that are getting us all flagged. And if you go after those accounts and either shut them down or warn them or something, or keep them all on their own spam mail server, so they all get flagged and nothing gets delivered, and you cycle all the email IP, the IPs of the mail servers for everyone else will all be off of the spam lists. And because we have the DKIM, the SPF, the DMARC, everything else authenticated with email, we'll score a 10 out of 10 for kvCORE for the first time. And then that makes your system so much more valuable because everything around it has to do with, I mean, sure, I use it for calling and tracking the calls and the info on my contacts for the CRM. And sure, I could use it for the mailers and the ads and everything else. But at the end of the day, so many people use email, and you want to see if your contacts are opening those emails. And you have these funnels and landing pages and everything else that center around email and email deliverability. The email system is garbage if the emails aren't getting through. If the deliverability is bad, which it is right now, it makes it so much less valuable. So I'd even tell people it's not worth getting the Vanity domain at that point, unless you really don't have any other place to get a website. I'd say get Response. You can do everything on there, or get System with an E.io, systeme.io. Either one of those two have 10 out of 10 email deliverability. You can have a blog/website, whatever you want to call it. You can have landing pages, funnels, email autoresponders, and even a CRM with tagging in there as well. It doesn't do all the other tricks kvCORE does, but your emails will actually get through. So until kvCORE fixes that, I really cannot recommend sending your email newsletters from kvCORE. And I think that sucks because I love that kvCORE would show you, if you send emails from there, it shows you that they read them. The envelope, it's pretty small. You can see that it's opened and that people actually opened your email. So gurus, please stop telling people. Am I still sharing the screen? Sorry, I should have switched it. But gurus out there, please stop telling people to put in an email address here if they do not have a Vanity domain, and changed all the DNS records to have SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. You can see it yourself. Use mail-tester.com. It's free for 3 tests a day. You can see for yourself your email deliverability gets worse, okay? The other thing is, if you have a new domain like mine, it's less than 14 days old, you get flagged extra negative points for that. So that's why I haven't switched mine yet to the kramersells.com, but I will, because I finally just today got everything worked out with kvCORE. But they will not work that out for you on a different email address unless you pay for their Vanity domain. Either pay for the Vanity domain and ask me how you can get all your email stuff authenticated, or leave this blank and use the free email. The caveat there, and this is outside of email, but it is a big deal, is if you don't get a Vanity domain for kvCORE, your site will never rank on Google. And you can I'll prove that to you right now as well. There's something called Google Dorks, okay? You can Google that. Google Dorks are a series of commands that end with a colon, and they let you do a whole bunch of different stuff and search differently on Google. A lot of people don't know about them. I think the most used Google Dork is site. It's just site : you put in a domain. I use it for 2 reasons. One is I can search a specific website for documents. Now let me show you another way to use this. Site : if I do kramersells.com and no keywords, it will show you every page indexed by Google. Now I've only had this Vanity domain for a couple days, and it's already indexed 5 or whatever those pages, okay, that I'm ranking for. Doing site : and your domain will show you everything you rank for. Now let me show you the subdomain you get for free if you do not have a Vanity domain, which is, for me, michaelkramer.exprealty.com. You'll see at best you'll get 1 result. It's your homepage, and that's it. That's all you'll ever get, because it's a subdomain and because it shares the EXP Realty and it sees so much similar content with everybody. It'll never index anything else you have. If you want to rank on Google with your kvCORE website, you have to get a Vanity domain for $11 a month. If you plan on having a different, blog, website, whatever you want to call it, whether it's WordPress, systeme.io, or GetResponse or something like that, and do everything on there, then that's fine. You don't have to worry about this. You don't need the Vanity domain, and just have your domain you bought point to your blog, website, whatever you want to call it. But if your only website is going to be this one, it's going to be kvCORE, and you want to rank on Google for it, you may not. You may just share landing pages on Facebook ads or on Facebook. I don't know. However you want your business to run. But if you want to have organic results in Google, like I just showed you, like this, again, there's a couple days. So let's compare, right? So you see the screen, 1 page, homepage only. That's after, I don't even know, 9 months on Google. That's all it's indexed. I bought the Vanity domain, and within a couple days, I got 5 pages already indexed by Google. It's gonna just keep indexing. I could start writing blog posts in kvCORE and those will start getting indexed. The only one I have now is this top one right here. If you wanna rank in Google organically, you need a vanity domain. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So let me know what other questions you have either about kvCORE or email deliverability. I'm here to help you. See you guys later.